Hi, it's Audrey. I'm glad to be back posting videos, and today I'm posting especially for my great friends at Split Coast Stampers. I have a special technique for you today. Let me show you what it looks like. So if you notice the background here, it's basically what I consider like a washboard, artsy kind of a background, and then there's an overstamp of an image. So this could be totally qualified as clean and simple, especially on this one because it's a single layer. On here I've just taken 2 layers, and then I have a dark background or semi-dark background, and then I have that funky background again, and I've got a few pearls on it, which is kind of like kicks it up a notch. I like the pearls kind of scattered. You want to give it a very artsy, kind of a grungy effect. So this is what we're going to create today, and I'm going to show you how to do this. Believe it or not, this is completely flat. There's no embossing, but I'm going to use an embossing folder for this technique. So let's get started. First, a couple of pieces of, I love to use watercolor paper for this, just because ink and watercolor paper really do well together with this technique, but you could use Whisper white cardstock as well. And what I've done is I've taken 2 rectangle dies and I've just kind of cut those out. A little trick I have that I'll show you is that, notice that this is just 2 pieces of white cardstock kind of like on top of each other, and that's what we're going to do today. But what I do, because since this piece covers that second piece almost totally, what I do is I actually use a different die in the middle of the larger one for a different card. This is one of my other dies. I just put it in the middle of the big one, and now I can put this on the side and use it for a different card. But when I mount it, nobody will know. So it's my way of using up my good paper all the way up and not wasting any. So I just wanted to share that with you. So we're going to start by using just this piece, which is the smaller piece of what we die cut, along with our embossing folder. Okay. So first I'm going to just put this aside for a minute, and I'm going to open my embossing folder. Now before I open it, let me just give you a tip. Look for the Stampin' Up logo or the Sizzix logo. Look for those logos before you open it, and then open it. And then on the side where those logos are is where we're going to work. Now in this particular technique, I'm going to actually use paint daubers as ink, but you can definitely use stamping pads. So you can take a pad and use it for this technique as well. I've done this before with Baja Breeze and Wild Wasabi, and they look beautiful. It's just that it's a little bit faster with the paint, and since it's a little bit faster with the paint daubers, I'm going to use them for the video. Alright, so I'm using Mowed Lawn, and all I'm doing is taking a little bit of the Mowed Lawn and just dabbing it in different areas of this folder. And you can kind of, you don't want to be symmetrical or anything like that. You just want to put it on there. And then I'm going to take, this is Salty Ocean, and I'm going to put this where there is no ink. These are distress paints, so I won't have a problem with mixing these, you know, like they blend well together. Stampin' Up inks as well, not a problem. If you feel like you're worried about your pads contaminating because you're touching it in different places, then take a sponge, use the sponge on the pad to pick up the ink, and then daub the folder wherever you want to put it. The finger dauber works also very well. Just take that dauber, put it on your finger, and then daub ink and put it down. And then you can kind of mix your different areas on the dauber, on the folder, sorry, without worrying about ink contamination. So now I'm going to take a liquid. Now this could be water, this could be shimmer paint in water, this could be any number of things. I'm going to use Tattered Angels Pearl Glimmer Mist. And what I'm going to do, and I'm put something under here that I use very often just because I don't want my grid paper to be totally soaked through. I'm going to wet this. And when I say wet, you want to see beads of ink. Look at that. It's wet. Alright? Now, with it being wet, I'm going to take my, and excuse me, I pre-taped because this is a video. I'm going to tape this, and I'm going to just place it down on my folder area. Now, of course, my folder area has a lot more ink than it needs to have. Now, if I didn't want my fingers to get dirty, I could take a piece of paper and put it on top and then press. You don't want to use a brayer or anything that would be consistent here, because it actually turns out nicer if it's not, you know, consistent pressure all the way around. So I'm just kind of touching it down onto the ink and letting it sit there for a minute, because again, this is watercolor paper, so it's absorbing the ink. And then I'm going to pick it up, and voila, that's how easy this technique is to do. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it time to dry, and then I'm going to come back. As far as the folder goes, I'm just going to take this under tap water and rinse it, and it will become perfectly clean again. The problem is, rinse quickly. Don't wait to rinse, because this is paint, and so it'll be permanent when it dries. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back, and I wanted to just show you the difference between which side of the folder you use. So this is the one we did, and we used the side of the folder where the Stampin' Up! Logo is. If you use the other side, which is the side without the Stampin' Up! Logo, or the back of the folder for this technique, you would do it the same way, but what you'll end up with is more of an outlined scenario. So there are times when you'll want this one, so go ahead and make your decision. You can use the Stampin' Up! Logo side or the non-Stampin' Up! Logo side, and you'll get two different effects. Just wanted to show you that. Another thing you can do is, don't think that this is just for this card. You can definitely punch out things that you know, if you make a big piece, you can punch out different shapes with it. And they really are kind of cool. I mean, I don't know if you can see the glimmer. So I use either shimmer paint or glimmer mist all the time, because it does make the light hit it and it sparkles. I can't show you that in the video very well. Alright, so now we're ready to stamp on this. And here's where I want to talk to you a little bit about your choice of colors. You want to keep your colors muted enough so that you can stamp over them. And you want to kind of make sure that one corner or somewhere on your card where you'd like your sentiment is a little lighter than the rest. So like, I have taken this stamp and I've chosen to use the Trust God stamp set. I like this sentiment here. Each one of us is God's special work of art. Since this is such an artsy card, I think that sentiment works well. And I've set it up on a Stamp-A-Majig. If you haven't used a Stamp-A-Majig, just do a little search on YouTube for Stamp-A-Majig and you'll find like a ton of tutorials. Alright, so I use the Stamp-A-Majig to help me decide where is the best place to put this. Now if you don't have a Stamp-A-Majig, stamp on a piece of plastic. It kind of still helps you find out where is the best place. Now on some of the cards I showed you earlier, I've all been doing it in the lower right hand corner. And by the way, when I was inking up my folder, I was thinking about doing it in the lower right hand corner, so I was actually purposely making that area lighter. But in this case, let's do it in a little bit of a different place to show you that it really doesn't matter where you put the sentiment. Wherever it makes you happy. Let's put it up a little higher this time. Let me put it right there. And I'm using my grid paper to kind of look at how the line is straight. And then I'm just going to take my Stamp-A-Majig, put it right here. I'm using a really dark black ink. StazOn would work really well, but you do want this to be dark. So it could be dark black or dark brown, or I think you could get away with a dark green or a dark blue as well, as long as it's not the same as the one underneath. I tend to use muted colors for this technique anyway. So there I am. There's the front of my card. What I have done also is I've taken a piece of Baja Breeze paper and I've cut it in half, so that I have two, and then I scored it at 4 1/4, and then I took that larger piece and just adhered that down. Remember, this was a little tip I gave you. This also would make a great window, by the way. If you put something behind there, it could be really cool, like some die cuts. Okay, so I'm digressing. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick this on top of that. And basically, guess what, guys? This is so easy. I'm actually done. Now, if this is an ink that's slow drying, you want to be careful not to touch the ink until it's dry. And you want to be careful not to stamp until your watercolor effect is completely dry as well. So you want to leave time for drying. And there's our card all finished and done. And I hope you had fun with this. I love it. I think it's a lot of fun. FYI, try different size stamps. I tend to like the bigger stamps on this, and sometimes I'll use larger stamps. But try all different size stamps and try different colors. And I think this is something that you'll love to do. It was really great seeing you again, even by YouTube, and I'm going to be posting some more videos in May. I look forward to it. Take care and happy stamping.